Hello everyone once again and welcome back to PAX and Recreation. And today we're going to open the last draft booster box from Ravnica Remastered. So, why is it the last? Well, quite literally because now we have play booster boxes. So this was the last ever printed draft booster box set. The one in Ravnica Remastered. Now, I have some doubts about this. I believe that they are going to maybe come back with draft again in January of next year when they do Innistrad, or maybe it's going to be play boosters and command collector boosters, so who knows. But this is part of that, by now, almost usual thing of sure, let's have draft and collectors for the remasters, right? In every year, January, remaster set, and they do this, right? So it's a new tradition, and I am not sure how I feel about it, but everyone loves remastered sets because memories and nostalgia are very strong. As you know by now, ooh, persistent petitioners, let's go. As you know by now, we kind of went over a lot of Ravnica memories and history with the pre-releases. So if you want to check that, there are a bunch of links, or a link and a playlist or whatever, to check all the... Wait, gate, nice. To check all the pre-releases that we opened so far that were themed for each guild of Ravnica. Ravnica is one of those things where, I believe that Ravnica is certainly the most popular plane in Magic the Gathering. It certainly hit the nail in the head with the whole guilds to color, giving them identities that are bigger than the sum of their parts, and the little seals here, and making players like really identify with one of those philosophies and be like, yeah, you know what, yeah, I am Rakdos, oh, I am Azorius, oh, I am, and if you check those pre-releases, you can see that they even gave players like these mini games, mini challenges, mini achievements to do as they were playing the pre-release, to make sure that everyone was playing according to the guild that was assigned to them. And I don't know, between that and the fact that it's like everything has this like double layer of flavor, Ravnica is like the Big Mac of Magic the Gathering planes, like it just has everything. It's like the default. It has everything that you wish for in a hamburger. Well, it's double. Here is like the same. It's like, oh, you like Magic the Gathering? Well, what about this? And it's like Super Saiyan Magic the Gathering. Like everything is like reinforced. That's when Cardinal of Manor feels like a little bit of a meh thing compared to some of the other some of the other things that we could have done or get, but. Overall, it's Ravnica, so it's always cool. A disclaimer, since this is the last draft booster box, draft boosters were supposed to be better for sealed play, and you may be looking at the cards that we're getting and getting an idea for that. It's like, okay, I mean, I see some archetypes, and they actually show you the archetypes in the box, so you are supposed to be like, see, like you can build around this or that or this or that, and it's like all the archetypes are pretty literally just the guilds. So it's funny because this is the first time, and that's why it's kind of romantic. And apologies for being this sensitive with stupid cardboard stuff, but it's kind of romantic that we came back to Ravnica for the last draft booster box, and all the archetypes are basically the guilds, and each guild has like this way of playing that kind of matches, and for the first time in a single set you have the 10 guilds of Ravnica together at the same time. Like that for me, it's like, you know, if you recall, like some of the pre-releases, it's like they always divided in like 5 and 5, because other than that, otherwise, like try to have all this stuff, all these cards, have attention for all the guilds, that they are balanced and all that is kind of complicated, and having like actual branding. And here is a remaster, so they just pick the best from each house and go like, okay, so there you go, there you go, there you go, there you go, and have like a representation for all of them. And it's kind of cool. Now we have to address the elephant in the room, and is that these are draft boosters. These are supposed to be for you to open and play with your friends. I am opening them on camera like a savage. So normally when I do this, what I do is that after this video ends, I try to like incorporate these cards into the cube, or I just go full crazy, try to shuffle them, and then we do like, you know, poor man's version of shuffling with very carefully, because shuffling cards without sleeves feels like sacrilege nowadays, because it is. Let's not get that wrong. Prime Speaker's Zegana. But yeah, they have like retro border, and then they have like new art white ones, which is like a nice thing to throw in there, I guess. See, like retro art, Connive and Concoct again, not bad. And you know, this is actually like the most valuable thing here are the shock lands, which it seems on purpose, because the whole visual theme of this is like thunders and stuff like that. So maybe they did it on purpose. Everyone loves that for like every format, because it's one of the faster ways to play that. But in Commander, it's pretty much cheap. It's pretty much free, because you have so much life points that you can just like shock yourself, and it's whatever. No one cares. Yeah, basically I try to reshuffle them very carefully, and then we basically like pick the top 15 cards each one, and then we try to do it again. That's when like my friends have the time and possibility for that, and like availability. If they don't, then I just like add them into the queue or something. Not gonna lie to you, sometimes I do this for the video, and then I'm like, well, yeah, like sometimes it's not worth to go over the trouble. But I just wanted to mention that, like, yeah, I mean, this is the last one, so this is the last time I say it, I guess. But like, don't buy draft boxes to open by yourself like I'm doing, because it really defeats the purpose. I mean, if you have the money, or you have like, I mean, it's your life, do whatever makes you feel happier. Please be my guest. But the truth here is that you're kind of spoiling the thing. Like, the idea is that you grab a couple of boosters each, and then you play with your friends, right? And Pariah's Shield. And here is like, if you do this like I'm doing, you're kind of, you know. But then again, with sets like this one, that is either collectors, give me your blood boosters, or draft ones. You don't have set booster boxes to just open boosters in your house if you don't want to like bleed with the collectors ones. So, you know, each one decide whatever they prefer to do. You know, this is the humble advice of a crazy madman. Yeah, it feels somehow fitting and nice that we close in the draft boosters with Ravnica. Spark double. And at the same time, it feels kind of weird. Like last year, what happened was that we had Dominaria United, and then the Brothers War, and then Dominaria Remastered. So technically, the Brothers War is all the same plane, even though it's like in the past. So yeah, so I guess we did Dominaria, and ironically, we actually went to the past with Dominaria Remastered. It was kind of cool. But if you compare that to this time it's like, oh, we're going back to Ravnica, baby. It's like, yay! And then we're going back to Ravnica again for Murderers at Karlov Manor, or Karlov's at Markov Manor. And it's like, oh, okay. Thanks. And ironically, this one actually feels a lot like Ravnica. I mean, it's Ravnica Remastered, which is not the first Ravnica reprinted is literally like, you know, the greatest hits from like all around Ravnica to make like a perfect a perfect draft experience. Now, it's not, you know, it's not a perfect super duper experience, and when I say it's like the best, like, you know, greatest hits, it doesn't mean like it has like all the best cards from Ravnica or anything like that. It's all cards from Ravnica, sometimes cards from other sets that are people from Ravnica, so it kind of still matches, but it's all in the service of those archetypes, right? So, but gotta be honest here, for a nostalgia trip to Ravnica, it also fulfills that, quasi-duplicate. It also fulfills that purpose, right? You open it, you're like, oh man, look at this one. Oh man, look at that one. So they really know how to hit those cores. And I feel that Magic invented a lot of things that modern video games, well, not invented, but like certainly cemented a lot of things that modern video games have nowadays, like loot boxes. Magic the Gathering is the de facto loot box. But ironically, now it's copying things from video games, like this remastered concept. It's very video gamey. It's like, okay, we're going to charge you premium again for old stuff. In the case of Magic, it has some sense because, well, they are reprinting cards that you don't see again, right? So, like Chromatic Lantern, there you go, value, ding, 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 ding. But the thing is that like Chromatic Lantern and Legion Warboss are cards that are reprinted, even more Chromatic Lantern, but you just need to be lucky and pull that thing, right? So they add it again to add value to the thing, and you know, it feels like it's a video game concept. So if you look at the remaster, you're already so used to the concept of remastering because of how video games are treating that term, that you're like, oh, cool. So this is like a remaster of like Ravnica. And it's like, well, it is, but actually to what degree? If you buy a remaster of a video game, sure, you're paying the premium again for Cindervine is nice. You're paying premium again for the game either being like up to system standards nowadays, like better resolution, all that, because let's remember, a remaster is not a remake. A remake, they do everything from scratch, it looks better. We are 1/3 in. This thing has a lot of boosters. A remaster is we grab what it is and we just make it prettier or more functional or whatever to current times, right? It's basically an update, a remastering, right? Like literally remastering the thing. So with that in mind, with Magic, it feels like, oh, okay, cool. But actually, it's kind of misleading because you're paying premium for reprints of stuff that you're not getting by default. Like it's because it's gacha, it's loot box. So you may get the cards, you may not. So actually, the best thing is just use the fact that it's a remaster and buy the singles because they are reprinting something that maybe was more expensive before. It got lower prices because of more offer, and then you can go to, I don't know, any card buying website and then buy them cheaper. That is, if you don't care, or then you can just be, you know, get a Shockland, go crazy over it because it's like a Shockland in a retro border thing, or like ding 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 ding, and you may be thinking, wow, that's a valuable card. And I don't know the price that's going to show here because it depends on the moment that we edit the video. So it may be later than the time that I'm opening this now, and it will be cheaper even. But regardless of the case, I can tell you one thing, and that thing is, whatever price shows on the screen, I can assure you that before this set hit the streets, it was double. So, and depending on how late we publish this video, because there's just so much card stuff and in so many games at the same time, that I can barely keep up without flooding you guys with videos, 2 videos per day. So it likely will be even cheaper. And that's why a lot of people just treat Magic the Gathering releases like they treat like some video games, like, I will wait 2 months so it gets to $20, right? And here is the same. A lot of people just go like, I will wait 2 sets, and then everything will be cheaper, even sealed and singles, because singles just get cheaper prices as more people open boxes, more cards are introduced into the pool, and people just don't buy them, so they have to lower the price if they want to get rid of the stock. Ironically, it's easier to just sit on the cards individually than it is to sit on the actual sealed product, because Wizards prints a finite amount of it, a big finite amount of it, so it's not like, you're going to die or anything. But then you can no longer buy like sealed product, because then they dump it on Amazon or something, and it is what it is. So I guess like similar with video games, ironically, if you are not into having the latest thing all the time, if you just wait a little bit and sit on it, you'll get a lot cheaper than the rest of the people. And let's be honest, if it's a remaster set like this one, where is the rush? Like all the cards here that you already saw them before, like these cards already exist. If you really need that card and you're not playing like competitive Magic or like official competitive Magic, just proxy the card, bro. Like if you really want it, and then buy it when it's cheap. Tragic Legion's Edge. Oh, nice. Very retro old school art by Anthony Palumbo. Boros Signet and a Goblin. I think we're halfway there. I don't know. Overall, when I did the video for the last set booster box, the whole thing was like, well, I mean, they're not meant to be played with, so this one is meant to be played with. And, Borborygmos and Rage. I love the story of Borborygmos and Borborygmos and Rage not being the same card, and therefore a rule change was issued because of that. If you know what I'm talking about, like, long story short, because I'm going to butcher it, there was this, like, likely there's a lot of other channels explaining this better than me, but in a tournament, I don't remember the names of the players or anything, so my apologies. Again, you come here for the podcast and the cards, not so much for like the exact factual remembering of information. But in a tournament, and you can look it up, you can go like tournament rules change, Borborygmos, and you will see the story. If I recall correctly, what happened was a player with Pithing Needle, I think it was. You need to name a card in your opponent's deck, and then they need to exile them all or discard them all. I don't remember the exact effect of it, right? But basically the thing is that if you say the name of the card, you can just get rid of it from the game, and that's good, right? So if you know your opponent's deck, it gets easier, but that card is actually very useful in like all the formats that are not singleton, so everything that is not Commander. Because in Commander, I mean, yes, so sure, you can use it and say like Soul Ring, and there you go. They need to remove Soul Ring from the deck, but it only, unless you really know of one card that they had that is very painful, and like you're only getting rid of one card in 100. So there's only so much really that you can do with Pithing Needle in Commander. But in other formats like Standard, that's a different game, because everyone, even when in competitive, has 4 copies of each card. So if you... Oh, nice. It's kind of weird, the art. It doesn't feel like it matches. Oh, well, this is because it's like Japanese style. Okay, that explains it. In Standard and so on, if you say the name of the card and they have 4 copies of it, you basically just neutered a big part of their strategy, and depending on how that deck worked, maybe you even neutered the whole deck. So apparently this player said Borborygmos, and the other player said okay, and then I think it was the next turn or something like that, the player immediately plays Borborygmos Enraged, and the other player gets like, no, that's you can't do that. I said Borborygmos, and the other guy goes, classic blue player, smarty pants, and go like, actually, oh nice, and the other player just goes, actually, oh cool, Watery Grave, The other player just goes, actually, you said Borborygmos, and I don't have Borborygmos. I have Borborygmos Enraged, which is not the same card. And this created this whole drama. I think that then the guy lost the game anyways, like the actual guy, I think. So in the end, well, nothing of value was lost, but they call a judge, and the judge was over there, and this is one of those situations where it's like, okay, you are technically right, but you know that the other dude meant to say Borborygmos because Enraged, because that's the one that you have, the one that he already saw. Like, and you know, it's one of those things where I can see the judge trying to, like, biting his tongue to not say, like, don't be an asshole. You know that, you know what he meant, but like this is competitive Magic, and like Magic, as you know, the more competitive it gets, the more it looks like a trial between lawyers. Like everything is, aha, but you didn't count with this detail because the thing goes like this, and this, right? Similar to what happens in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, and the stack, and this happens, and then rule 831 para .1.3-5 says this, and you know, it's a Magic the Gathering is a computer, basically. It's a big, intricate system. At the same time, it's like a battle of lawyers. And the crazy thing about that is that it leads to situations like this. Ooh, Sacred Foundry. And so they basically went like, okay, well, sorry, next time be sure to say the name of the actual card. And then because of that, they changed the rules. And now the rules say that for cards that require you to name a card, as long as both players know exactly what you're talking about, like you don't need to say, like, I don't know, for example, in the case of Borborygmos, if you have Borborygmos and Rage, we both know we're talking about that one. And if you have two for some reason, like if I say like that Borborygmos, like that one, I just point at the card, you know which one I'm saying. I don't need to say like, oh, for the record, like if this is some sort of trial or something, like, oh, say it for the microphone. Oh, Borborygmos Enrage, number card code 137, right? It's like, no. Water Cloister. Like, you know, that's kind of too heavy for like what it is, which is a card game. But they changed the rules because of that. So every time I see Borborygmos Enraged, I remember that story, and I just go like, gotta love Magic the Gathering. Those are the things that actually make me, like, it's kind of, you tell this to a person that doesn't play Magic the Gathering or play those other card games, and they go like, oh, that's why Magic is so try hard or so whatever or so complex or whatever. And I have to agree to a degree that it's like, come on, you know what the guy meant, but since, you know, competitive, Nicol Bolas Dragon God. Blue, 3 black, 1 red is a Planeswalker. I don't have this card, so that's why I'm like, ugh. Nicol Bolas Dragon God has all loyalty abilities of all other Planeswalkers on the battlefield. It's a shame that this doesn't work in my Planeswalker commander deck because it doesn't support black. We need to change the commander for that deck. You draw a card, each opponent, so +1, you draw a card, each opponent exiles a card from their hand or a permanent deck control. Okay. -3, destroy target creature or Planeswalker. -8, each opponent who doesn't control a legendary creature or Planeswalker loses the game. Yikes! Okay. Not bad, but I can tell you that if I pull this bad boy in a commander game, I will become immediately public enemy #1. Like, zero doubt whatsoever. The beauty of the commander deck, like I have this commander deck for Planeswalkers, whose base is, which base is the base of the Commander Masters one. You can see the video in the corner when I review all the videos. And I like the idea, because a commander deck that is all about Planeswalkers is actually a challenge. Like, you need to keep that thing alive, and that's very difficult. I'm all in for like challenging things, because even if it's challenging for me, if it makes it fun, more fun for me without like making it, you know, bad for my co-players, my companions, my friends, then the better, right? Because otherwise it's just me having fun, and that's no fun. So with Planeswalkers it's tricky, because yes, Planeswalkers are powerful technically, and but in Commander no one cares about them, because the moment you put a Planeswalker there, if all the players just agree to attack a Planeswalker of yours, if you don't have a proper defense in place, you will never have a planeswalker in play. So the base of the precon for planeswalkers was good, and I think the commander is good. I would like to see the commander a little bit more OP, but whatever, that trainer has already passed. If that commander was just a little, ooh, it mixes mastery, nice. If that commander was just a little bit better, we could have the best like planeswalker commander that was also a planeswalker, because that's like the cheeky thing, right? But how does that deck play? The deck plays a lot basically like, leave me alone, I'm just playing in my corner, can you please just leave me alone? So all the other players are doing their thing, and you're trying to get them to not attack you, to shift them to one side or the other so that they keep attacking each other, making alliances and stuff, because you need to keep your planeswalkers alive. And the moment you have a lot of planeswalkers, then the party actually starts for you. But until that moment comes, good luck, right? So the sad thing is that, well, I'm using the commander from the precon. So those colors are red, white, and blue, which sadly cuts me out of black, and which is, a lot of the most powerful planeswalkers are in that color. So, the Nicol Bolas is making me reconsidering a better commander for that planeswalker deck. Maybe there is. I never looked online. Maybe if I look online, like, oh, what's the best commander for a planeswalker deck? I will have one, but then obviously it will have specific colors, and maybe So maybe we need to rethink my whole strategy there. I don't know. Again, I just like the deck because it makes it difficult for me, and if it ramps up at the level that I need it, it becomes a nightmare for everyone else in the board. But for me, it's just complicated to keep it alive and be cool and all that stuff. Similar things happen with some of my other decks. Are all about like me having a difficult time with myself, like me having fun, not alone, like a blue player just playing alone, but like more like, oh, okay, I need to do this and this and that, and it's like handicapping myself to a degree, to make it more fun for me and the others, I guess. I know it sounds kind of arrogant, like, oh, you need to handicap yourself so that you have fun with your friends. It's like, no, I mean, I can also play with like OP decks. The problem is that if I play with an OP deck, it always feels like, I don't know. The thing that I like about Commander is that it's the same thing I like about Draft. For example, what I like about this is that if I tell you, hey, let's go play Draft, I have this box, right? You open some boosters and you try to, or you can either do it like, switching the cards among yourselves, or you can do it the pre-release way. So you open 6 boosters and try to build your own thing. But what I like about that is that you need to be resourceful, right? Like, try to make the best thing you can with the cards that you got at that moment. So it's competitive, but it's more about being ingenious and being like, okay, I will do this, I will do that, or maybe this works, maybe that works. Just being tricky and smart with your game and all that. Like, that's what I like about it. With Commander, let's remember that the philosophy originally was exactly that, which was you pick the cards that you have laying around in your house, which most likely you only have one copy of each, and try to make something to play with, right? Around a creature that you like, or you think has like a good mechanics or something. Ooh, Cyclonic Rift. Return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. Overload. 6 and 1 blue. The poor goat. Nice. Krenkov's Command, because of course. Oh, Temple Garden. This was a loaded one. And for Commander it's the same. But if I go to a Commander game with like with cards I have, or like with a crazy idea that I had, or like this mechanic that allows me to do this that I think is fun, I think that's funnier or more fun than me looking online and be like, okay, best commanders. Okay, these are the best commanders. And I'm going to build around it. I'm just going to go there and wreck them all. Because you know what happened the first time I did that? It was more or less the last time I did that. Because what happened was, I love the foil on these things. what happened was that people were like, "Oh, that's crazy," and no one said that. Like basically, I won like super fast, because it was a deck full of proxies, to be honest. Because a lot of the cards that I wanted, I just went for like the craziest, killest things. So some of the cards I had, some of them I didn't, so I just proxied them. And I was like, "Oh, this deck has proxies." I was like, "Okay, cool, just to test." And we only did one game. It was just one test, one opportunity. Bam, 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 champ. And that was the end of that deck, because it was like, okay, I won fairly fast, like turn 2 or 3. It was like, cool. That's it. Oh, so there you go. Bruvak the Grandiloquent. And we have a bunch of persistent petitioners, so you know what's going to happen. This card was also a lot more expensive before this remaster, so that's an example of what I was telling you about, like, just wait for the boxes. And the last booster. So yeah, basically, yeah, that, right? It was super fast. Everyone was like, "Oh, that deck is crazy." It's like, yeah. But then, like, no one wanted to play against it again, except days later, where we were talking as a group, like, "Oh, let's play these. Like, what decks do you have, etc." And someone was like, "Oh, can we like try to make all try-hard decks to try to fight that one that you did?" I was like, "Oh, sure." And it was a try-hard game with all tryhards, but it wasn't the usual group. It was just the tryhards from the group. Ooh, Fibbleputh. This card is worthless, but everyone loves Fibbleputh, so there you go. There's a video there for Fibbleputh in plushie form, which is something, I guess. So I guess that at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is, remember that Magic and any card game in the end is like a relationship. It's like a marriage. It only works if both parties are happy, if all the members of the society are happy, and in this case, people that you're playing with, or people that you're challenging to play with. And that's it. This is the last of the draft booster boxes, Ravnica Remastered. Nothing crazy out of the ordinary. They added, the anime cards, the like new wide art style, some cards in like retro frame because this is a remastered, to add some spice, some value to the thing. But this is to play, it's fun. It's like a, hey, Ravnica, my old friend kind of thing. It's interesting. And it's the last one. Technically, play boosters will take over this, and we will look at that as we move forward and crack more stuff. But hey, let me know down below what you think about the podcast, some of the takes that I had, and what about the pools? And what did you think about draft booster boxes overall? Are you going to miss them? Certainly they are cheaper than play booster boxes, so that's going to be missed. But yeah, so thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you had a great time, and see you next time on PAX and Recreation. Bye.